A mysterious, daring thief committed a series of bank robberies in the city. The criminal is acting with a unique style. He leaves enigmatic pictures with two symbols at each crime scene. Detectives are confused. But thankfully, a police dog helps them track traces and leads them to an old house in a creepy neighborhood. The detectives find 3 suspects, but each of them has a strong alibi. Mr. Wildrose says, "I was busy celebrating my birthday with friends." Mr. Showberry says, "I was visiting a nighttime art exhibition, but unfortunately it wasn't allowed to take pictures inside." And Mr. Greenman says, "I had to stay home because I was sick. My mother was taking care of me, so she can verify my words." Can you spot the thief? Do you remember the picture of the crime scene? It shows a snowflake and a berry. This hint points to Mr. Snowberry. The detectives arrest Mr. Snowberry, but he finds a way to escape from his cell. The policemen are chasing him around a 2-story jail building. Mr. Snowberry hides on the roof and decides to jump off it. Can you guess why he decided to jump instead of climbing this tree? If he climbs the tree, he'll disturb these birds. They'll fly away and the police will notice him. Mr. Snowberry jumps and blacks out. After a while, he wakes up and finds himself locked in a small room. Mr. Snowberry looks around and finds a door. He tries to open it, but it's locked. He notices 3 buttons on the door. There's a circle on the first button, a triangle on the second one, and a square on the third button. He doesn't know which one he should press to unlock the door. Luckily, he finds a note with 3 numbers, 12, 4, and 8. Can you guess which button he should choose? There's a clock right above the door, and it's here for a reason. If we draw lines connecting 12, 4, and 8, we'll get a triangle. So he should press the triangle button. Mr. Snowberry manages to escape. He's starving and makes a stop at a restaurant. The waiter brings 2 trays of food. There are 3 differences between these meals. Can you spot them? Ready to see the correct answer? Here they are.
Yes!
The policemen spot Mr. Snowberry at the restaurant. They begin to chase the criminal, and he hides in this street. Can you help them find Mr. Snowberry? He's over here.
Oh.
Finally, Mr. Snowberry ends up in jail. But the city is shocked by another crime that happened in a historical museum. Someone stole an ancient emerald statue during an exhibition. This artifact is expensive and very rare. So the detective starts his investigation immediately. He finds 3 suspects who were standing close to the crime scene. But each of them denies any involvement in the theft. Jeff says, "I was recently released from prison. I'd like to recover my reputation, so I avoid any trouble with the law." Peter, who claims to be a writer, says, "I would never risk my reputation for the sake of some stupid statue." And Frank says, "Sir, I'm a billionaire. I have enough money to buy this entire museum." Who is lying? Frank. He said he's a billionaire. Why would he wear a fake brand? Molly's kitten is missing. She's looking for her pet in the park and comes across these 3 strangers. One of them stole her kitten. Can you guess who? The first lady is just holding a bag with a toy cat. The second lady is pregnant. But the third guy is hiding a real kitten under his clothes. A weird incident happened at Mr. Green's hotel. All the fish disappeared from the aquarium. It's late, so Mr. Green suspects only 4 employees. Bobby, the porter, says, "I spent the whole day carrying guest bags, so I simply didn't have time for any thefts." The cleaner, Amy, says, "When I arrived at work, the aquarium was already empty." The waiter, Harry, says, "I was working all day, so I didn't walk near the aquarium." Meanwhile, Mary, the manager, says, "I don't like fish at all. I prefer dogs." After hearing their stories, Mr. Green knows for sure who stole the fish. What about you? Take a look at the puddle on the floor. Seems like Harry has recently gotten soaked, probably because he was trying to catch the fish from the aquarium.
Oh no!
Lauren checks into Mr. Green's hotel. In the lobby, she meets 3 porters who offer to take care of her luggage. But only one of them is trustworthy. Can you guess who? The first porter wears 2 watches, one on his left hand and one on his right. The left watch is too big, so it's probably stolen.
Really?
It's not safe to trust your luggage to a thief. And the third porter is a ghost. His feet don't touch the ground. Therefore, Lauren should trust the second guy. Me? I'd just get out of that hotel. Anyway, Lauren goes to the local nightclub. Kyle, Tom, and Nick invite her to dance. But only one of them is safe to dance with. What's your guess? Tom wears a leather jacket with sharp spikes.
Oh.
He can accidentally scratch Lauren while dancing. Take a look at Kyle's feet. It looks like he's about to turn into a werewolf.
Oh my god.
Lauren returns to the hotel and finds out that someone stole her favorite necklace from her room.
Oh god.
She runs to the lobby and faces 4 people: a manager, a janitor, a guest, and a porter. She asks, "Who stole my necklace?" But everyone swears to have nothing to do with the robbery. Can you help Lauren find the thief? It's the manager. She hid Lauren's necklace in her glass of water.
What?
The next morning, Lauren is having breakfast in the garden. Suddenly, somebody pulls a paint bucket prank on her. Take a look at the hotel guests. Can you figure out who did it? It was definitely the first guy. There are paint stains on his pants, and the color matches the prank paint perfectly. In the garden, Lauren finds something very curious. It's not alive, but it has 5 fingers. What is it? A glove. Mr. Green enters his office and finds a pleasant surprise on his desk. Someone brought a huge box of his favorite chocolates.
Yes.
Mr. Green questions his employees, but everyone swears to have nothing to do with the gift. The cleaning lady, Glenda, says, "Sir, I haven't entered your office room yet. I was too busy cleaning the bathrooms." The hostess, Holly, said, "I entered your room 2 hours ago to bring some documents. I didn't notice any chocolates." And the manager, Kara, said, "Wow, I had no idea you like chocolates. I started my shift 30 minutes ago and I didn't leave the lobby." Who's the secret admirer? Can you guess? According to Kara, she didn't enter Mr. Green's office, but she dropped one of her hairpins on the floor. Mr. Green invites Kara for lunch at the local buffet. There are 4 meals that they can enjoy: pizza, pasta, salad, and sushi. However, some of these meals are not safe. Can you figure out which ones? This pasta contains shoelaces, so it's not safe to eat. And there's a bee sitting on the sushi. It can sting, so this option isn't safe either. Lauren goes for a walk in the forest. Suddenly, she sees a weird cave with mysterious lights.
Oh my god!
She enters the cave and gets teleported to a parallel universe. Can you help her spot the difference between this reality and the normal world? This lady is wearing shoes on her hands. Well, that's weird. Lauren meets a wizard who promises to send her home. But first, she has to crack his riddle. Spelled forwards, I'm what you do every day. Spelled backward, I'm something you hate. What am I? If we spelled live backwards, we'll get evil. So the correct answer is live. Harry and Larry are twins. They were born in May, but their birthday is in June. How is this possible? Well, it's possible because May is a town. Gotcha.
Detective Smith was called to a house to investigate a burglary. Mr. Brooke claimed that someone had broken into his place and stolen his expensive watch. When the detective arrived, he saw that the front door was open and there was muddy footprints leading to the living room. He also noticed that there was some mud on the staircase. After looking around the house, Detective Smith quickly figured out who the thief was. He went upstairs and arrested Mr. Brooke's son. Why did he do that? The detective noticed that no footprints were leading out of the house, indicating that the thief was still inside. 4 friends went out for lunch. Take a look at the image and try to guess which person is the richest. It's the one on the right. The first person has a fake iPhone, so they can't be it. Then the one next to them has ripped shoes, which means she can't afford new ones. The third friend has an empty wallet. She's probably going to ask some friend to pay her part of the bill. And the fourth one has multiple black credit cards, which means they're the richest. Freddie went to the castle near his house to return a lost cat. He was greeted by an old man that invited him in. But once he stepped inside, the old man turned into an evil magician that trapped Freddie inside the castle. Then the evil magician said,
"If you manage to complete 3 tasks I give you, I'll let you go home. Otherwise, you'll be stuck here forever. Here's the first task. Help me find my glasses amongst all these vegetables."
"Can you help Freddie?" Here they are, right next to the pumpkin. For the next task, Freddie had to make a potion, and the ingredients should be added in the right order. The magician gave Freddie a piece of paper with the recipe written on it. Can you help Freddie make the potion? You got to follow the colors of the cauldrons. So first of all, you need to add curry, so the potion will turn yellow. Then you add some blueberries, and it will turn green. And finally, add some tomatoes to make the potion look brown. Well done, Freddie! Freddie's third task is to find a book in this messy room. Can you do it? It's sitting right here behind the floor lamp. Congrats, you just helped to free Freddie. Tuesday, Sam and Peter went to a restaurant for dinner. After eating, the bill was paid. But Sam and Peter did not pay the bill. Who paid the bill for them? Their friend, Tuesday. I didn't see that one coming. Atlas woke up in the attic of an abandoned house. He tried to find a way out of the house, but all he could do was find a room with 3 doors. Each door hid a different danger. The windows and floor behind the first door were made entirely of magnifying glass, which meant that the sunlight would probably burn him if he entered. The second door hid a room full of poisonous gases. And behind the third door, there was a hungry lion. What should Atlas do to escape? He should wait until it's nighttime and use the first door. Sydney told her mom that her gymnastics team would go to a sports camp for the weekend. She asked her mom to help her pack for the trip. Her mother packed everything she thought her daughter would need. When Sydney came back from the weekend, she was telling her mother all about the trip. But somewhere during the conversation, she asked her mother why she hadn't packed a toothbrush. The mother immediately knew Sydney was lying about where they had really been that weekend. How? Because Sydney's mother did pack a toothbrush, but she put it under Sydney's gymnastics clothes. If Sydney had really gone to that camp, she would have used the clothes and found the toothbrush. Kimberly discovered 3 bags in an old attic along with a note. The note said that there was $1 million inside one of the bags. It also said that the 2 other bags were empty. She only had one chance to figure out which bag had the cash. Kim knew that only one of the messages written on the bags was true. On the first bag, it said, "The cash is not here." On the second bag, it was written, "The cash is not here." The last bag read, "The cash is in the second bag." If you were Kimberly, which bag would you choose? You should choose the first bag. If only one of the clues is true, then the money is in the first bag. Becca had just arrived from a 2-week trip to Egypt. During her trip, she bought a beautiful emerald and wanted to show it to some of her friends. She decided to throw a party just for her closest friends. The next day, she noticed that the emerald was gone. Becca immediately decided to call a detective to help her find the thief. She showed him some of the pictures she had taken the night before. The detective took a quick look and already had a pretty good idea of who had done it. Take a look at these pictures. How did the detective find the culprit? Look at that girl wearing a hat. At 1 a.m., her hat is flat, but at 2 a.m., her hat suddenly turned pointy, weirdly imitating the shape of an emerald. It must have been her. It's a rainy evening, and Dylan is driving back home. He passes through a bus stop where 3 people ask him for a ride. Dylan only has 1 seat in his car to offer, but he really wants to help all of those people. There's an old lady that looks very cold. There's a doctor who claims he needs to get to the hospital for a quick appointment. And a woman that Dylan has a crush on. What's the best arrangement Dylan can make to help everyone? Dylan could lend his car to the doctor so that he could drive the old lady home. Dylan could wait at the bus stop with the girl he has a crush on until the doctor comes back and gives him his car back. Susan found out that her favorite pop band was playing a private concert for VIP clients in a luxurious club. She decided to sneak inside the club through the backyard. But unfortunately, Susan faced a strict guard behind the door. He refused to let her inside without a password. But luckily for her, there was a hint in the guard's t-shirt. The hint was 2. Infinity plus BD. Susan deciphered the hint and was allowed in the concert. Can you guess what the password was? It was to infinity and beyond. One afternoon, Nicole found her father, Frank, in the living room, really worried about an anonymous text he had gotten. Frank was a private investigator, and he had just received a message revealing the address of the town's most dangerous criminal, Dirty Jack. He decided to go check the area, even if he didn't know what the criminal looked like. The address turned out to be an old warehouse, and when he busted inside, he found 4 people sitting at a table playing poker. The 4 people were a carpenter, a truck driver, a mechanic, and a fireman. Without any hesitation or communication, Frank arrested the fireman. How did he know that he was a criminal? The fireman was the only male in the room. The rest of the poker players were women. Bobby and Rachel decided to go grab a cup of coffee. But when their orders arrived, Bobby's coffee came with a fly inside of it. He called the waiter and asked him to change his cup. The waiter brought another cup of coffee, but 2 seconds later, Bobby called the waiter again and said, "Hey, that's the same cup." How did he know? Because Bobby had already put sugar in his coffee, and when he tasted the liquid inside the new cup, it already had sugar inside.
A mad scientist caught Larry and locked him in a small room. There were no windows, and the door was locked. But there was a note on the table. It was from the scientist. JFMAM ... JASOND. Guess the missing letter, and I'll set you free. "10 minutes later, Larry was already running away from the strange place. He managed to figure out that the missing letter was J. Those were the first letters of the months of the year, from January to December. And the 6th letter, J, stood for June. There are 2 villages next to each other. People who always tell the truth live in one of them. Liars live in the other. The inhabitants of the villages often visit each other. You're in one of the villages, but you don't know which one it is. What question should you ask a passerby to find out where you are? Ask them, "Are you a guest here?" If they answer yes, you're in the village of liars. If they say no, you're in the village where honest people live. Brian came to his senses on the floor in his living room. He was unharmed, but couldn't remember a thing. Suddenly, 2 young women entered the house. They looked exactly the same. When they found out what had happened, each of them started to claim that Brian was her husband. Can you help the guy figure out which of the women is his real wife? It's the woman on the left. She has a tattoo on the same arm as the girl in the wedding photo. Megan was 21 on her last birthday, but she's going to be 23 on her next one. How is it possible? It's Megan's 22nd birthday today. Sandra's boyfriend went on a business trip to New York. Soon, the girl got a weird text message from him. It looked like this: NHAPPY. What did Sandra's boyfriend want to say? The message means, "Unhappy without you." Now how about solving this Rebus puzzle? NEA, friended. What can it mean? It's a friend in need. And one more for you. Man, bored. It's man overboard. Great job. Now let's see how attentive you are. Look at this image. Who's not from Earth? Must be the guy on the right. The guy on the left is only wearing a Halloween costume. Look at his hazel eyes. They seem to be absolutely human. And now look at the eyes of the guy on the right. Ugh, creepy. How about this image? Can you spot anyone who doesn't look like us? Earthlings? It's the lady on the left. Have you noticed a couple of extra eyes hiding in her hair? These drivers are about to take part in a race. Which of them is from another planet? That driver over there. He seems to be leaving a trail of slime behind him. Okay, you have a sharp eye. But is it sharp enough to crack the following riddles? A rabbit is hiding somewhere among these mushrooms. Can you spot it? It chose one of the largest mushrooms to hide behind. At first sight, there's nothing unusual here. But what if you examine the picture more attentively? Right, no one uses a soccer ball to play basketball. Mark bought a new keyboard, but the seller fooled the guy and gave him a fake one. Can you find the proof? The keyboard has 2 8s, but no 9s. A dog runs away from its master and is now hiding somewhere among these bowls. Help the worried owner find its pooch. Gotcha! Similar, but not the same. How good are you at math? Let's figure it out. How much will a 50-degree angle measure if you look at it through a microscope that magnifies 5 times? The angle won't change. It'll still be 50 degrees. A man came to a fruit market to sell watermelons. After he sold half of them and half of a watermelon, he saw he had 1 watermelon left. How many watermelons did he bring to the market? He came there with 3 watermelons. There are 100 books on a shelf. To count off 10 of them, you'll need 10 seconds. How much time will you spend counting off 70 books? It'll take you 30 seconds. You'll need this time to count off 30 books, and the rest will make 70. Liza worked as a nurse in a hospital. One day she came to make injections. After these injections, it was prohibited to get up. Liza warned the patients and left. But when she came back, she understood that one of the patients had actually got up while she'd been away. Who was it? And how did she figure it out? It's the guy in the middle. There was a plate with some cookies near his bed. But now, the same plate, but empty, is on the table in the corner. At around 7 p.m., Melissa was walking in the park. Suddenly, she saw a guy lying on the ground. His bike was nearby, in the bushes. Melissa helped him to sit up, and he told her, "I was cycling through the park when someone threw a stone at me. I fell down and blacked out." Melissa had 4 suspects. Hannah said she'd been on a morning run and hadn't seen anything. Ryan said he'd taken his dog for a walk, and they had been in another part of the park. And Michael and Laura said they'd come to have a picnic and had been busy with food. Who is lying? Hannah, it's evening. How could she have her morning run? Detective Robbins was walking along the street when he heard the sound of glass shattering. He saw a large crowd gathering near the broken window of a jewelry store. The detective ran up to the store owner. "Has anything been stolen?" The man said he hadn't understood yet. Suddenly, Robbins rushed away. Why? The store window was broken to distract passersby. Meanwhile, this guy stole a wallet from the man in a suit. At first, the wallet was in the man's pocket. Now, the thief is rushing away, the wallet in his hand. 2 cars, red and black, are moving along the same highway. The red car is traveling at a speed that's twice higher than that of the black car. They both started at the same time, and still, after some time on the road, the 2 cars come across each other. How is it possible? The cars were moving toward each other. Mark was going to an important business meeting, and he was driving quite fast. Unfortunately, the man got into a car accident. Both he and the other driver were okay, but the cars were badly damaged. Mark called the police. When they arrived, Mark explained the situation. "I was driving fast, but I wasn't breaking any rules. Suddenly, a car pulled out in front of me. I didn't have enough time to brake." The other driver exclaimed, "It's your fault! I was driving slowly, talking to my wife about our weekend plans, and then you appeared out of nowhere." The police officers immediately understood who was responsible for the accident. And you? It was the other driver. He was alone in his car. It means he was talking to his wife on the phone, which is illegal. Dylan was trapped in a basement. The only thing he found inside was a note and a pen. Find out how to get 200 out of 188 using just one line, and you'll be free. 5 minutes later, the door opened automatically, and Dylan was free. What did he do? He drew the line to divide 188 horizontally. This way, he got 100 and 100. One afternoon, all cash was stolen from a small cafe on the beach. The police had 4 suspects. All of them claimed they hadn't been to the cafe in the past hour. Look at them attentively and try to figure out who's the thief. It's the guy with a cocktail in his hand. He definitely bought it in the cafe since it's the only one on the beach. But then, why did he lie about not visiting the place?